Good morning and welcome to this Friday edition of A View from the House. My name is Mkokeli Tanda. Well, it's the end of a hectic week in Parliament and in politics. We are also nearing the end of this second quarter of the parliamentary year. Yesterday, the National Assembly adjourned for the winter recess, although the committees still have some work to do before the end of the term next Friday. The National Council of Provinces also has some plenary sessions scheduled for next week. In today's program, we look at questions to the Deputy President in the National Assembly and we recap on the ANCOP's youth debate. But before we go there, we look at some controversy regarding a piece of legislation proposed by the Western Cape Provincial Government. The Provincial Government of the Western Cape's draft Community Safety Bill 2012 has drawn flack from the National Minister of Police, Natim Tetwa. The minister is not happy about the bill and he seeks legal opinion from experts in the field of constitutional law. The minister says when tested against the Constitution, it seems the bill in its entirety is unconstitutional and the Western Cape Executive should not introduce the type of legislation contemplated in the bill. Should the bill go ahead, the minister has informed the MEC that the ministry will challenge the constitutionality of the bill. And so, the ball is now in the Western Cape government's court. But to see how they are going to play it, we are now joined by the MEC for Community Safety, Mr. Dan Plato. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning.
Mr. Plato, first of all, what exactly are you proposing in this piece of legislation?
We're proposing a wide range of issues. First of all, we want to look at the effectiveness of the South African Police Services in the Western Cape. Also want to give a bigger role for CPFs and neighborhood watches. Also to place some oversight responsibilities over police stations. And also we want to structure a ombuds office, also looking at all the complaints we receive, complaints about police not doing their work, looking at the police brutality and other issues. So the bill addresses a wide range of issues, but let me also immediately say that with regard to the constitutionality of the bill, we are not fighting with the National Minister and we are not fighting with the South African Police Services, and definitely we are not taking away any powers from the South African Police Services. What we are trying to do is to fulfill our oversight responsibilities as enshrined in the Constitution, specifically Article 206 of the Constitution.
Mr. Plato, you said the bill also proposed a position for a police ombudsman, but is that role not going to overlap or duplicate what the Independent Police Directorate is doing?
Not really. Looking at the dramatic backlog, looking at the fact that there's also a wide range of complaints that they are not getting back to the public in time with regard to complaints lodged. We want to fill that gap. We are also saying that the people of the Western Cape need speedily answers, and currently they are not getting that. And backlogs is just increasing, and that is why we want to address that specific issue as well.
Mr. Plato, Chapter 11 deals with security services and specifically the structure, responsibility and control of the police. Why do you want powers to inspect police stations, premises, property and vehicles? Isn't national government doing that already?
It's already what I'm doing. That is the specific role of the MEC. I conduct various, and I think my other counterparts in the other provinces are doing exactly the same. What we are currently busy doing, enshrine it now in a bill. It is happening already. Okay. I visit over the last, since taken office, visit various police stations, interviews with police management of these specific stations. Obviously, I'm well aware of the fact that I can't interfere in the operations of any police station and I can't give orders to SAPS officials. That we do by having meetings with the provincial leadership of SAPS and provide them with the necessary information. We collect people giving us what we find on the ground, and that is how we filter that in through to SAPS leadership. And that is, as far as we're concerned, the specific role of the MEC. If the National Minister is of the opinion that we're stepping on his terrain, I'm glad to hear that he wants to seek legal advice. I think that is the right thing to do. As I've said, we are not fighting with the national minister. We are saying to the minister, provide us with your legal opinion, and that the two legal entities, our legal people, his legal people, that we sit around the table and sort this thing out.
But Mr. Plato, how do you respond to arguments that the provisions of the bill encroach on the powers and functions contained in the Secretariat, the Civilian Secretariat Act?
I don't believe so. Irrespective of the structuring of the Civilian Secretariat, looking at our specific role as also enshrined in the Constitution. Look, let me say it's about a fact of saying how do you understand the Constitution? How does the National Minister, the Secretariat, and we understand the Constitution? And I think we need to get around those issues. We were of the opinion that our legal advice is above board. We're of the opinion that we are not encroaching on the terrain of the National Minister and not fiddling with any of the conditions of the National Constitution.
The ANC Western Cape leader Lynn Brown says this bill is only part of your attempt to secede the province one department at a time.
That is her opinion, and that is a political statement. I don't think the bill got anything to do with that. I think the bill is addressing the specific needs of the people of the Western Cape on the ground, specific issues. At the end of the day, enhancing what the police are doing, ensuring effective policing in the Western Cape, which is currently lacking, and also making sure that there is proper reporting and proper communication between the South African Police Services, my office, and the people on the ground as well.
You want to take our viewers into confidence. Do you want political control of police in the Western Cape?
I can't have it. Currently, the Constitution doesn't give me that right to have any political control over the South African Police Services. Definitely, we are not going to step into the terrain of the operational issues of the South African Police Service. That is not for me to do. My role is only oversight. And that is what we mastermind. That is exactly what we try and do.
We now have a new National Commissioner of Police. What's your reaction?
I'm looking forward to working closely with her. I believe she's a woman of stature, very well with administration and things like that, and I think that is also what was lacking in the top structure of the South African Police Services, and definitely I will love to work very, very closely with her.
What's your reaction to suggestions that it should have been a professional police person?
Look, we had professional police persons in that position before. That also didn't work. Let's give it a shot.
The Minister of Community Safety in the Western Cape, Mr. Dan Plato, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
After the break, we put South Africa's access to crude oil in the spotlight. We hear how Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe replies to a question in the National Assembly on South Africa's response to threats of oil boycotts against Iran. We'll be back in a moment.